This video is sponsored by Skillshare. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a bunch of fun, natural tone, Bohemian, and Scandinavian inspired ornaments for our wooden Christmas tree. They were all easy to make, simple to do, and I'll show you all about it in this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. We'll start with our simple and easy ornaments and work up to a little bit more advanced, starting with these plastic globe ornaments. You can find these at the dollar store or even at your local craft stores. I just filled a couple of them using some eucalyptus leaves and then tied a string at the top, making it a simple little ornament. Boom. Let's take these up a notch by adding a couple different size wood beads to the inside, and then we're going to decorate this top section of the ornament using cotton twine and securing it with a little hot glue. I decided to finish it off right there, but of course you could continue to go around the top section of the ornament with that cotton twine. Next up, let's make these Scandinavian inspired ornaments. Simple to make with some styrofoam balls that I found at the Dollar Tree and more of that cotton twine. Ultimately, just want to hold one end down and continue to wrap around using a diagonal pattern, crisscrossing. The real goal here is just to wrap until you don't see the styrofoam ball anymore. Once you got it wrapped to the desired, cut off your end and then slip underneath, tie it off so that it's nice and taut. I found a place to be able to slip another string underneath to make my hanger for the ornament, tie it off, and boom, another ornament done. These boho palms were all the rage last season, and I had never actually made one myself, so this was a first go around. Actually, this was my first go around right here. Ugh. Not the greatest, but I definitely learned as I went along and figured out some tools using a fork instead of my hand to get that right diameter and basically just wrap and wrap until you get to the thickness you want and tie it off. The fork technique was much easier than trying to wrap around my fingers. I was able to actually control where I put the string through the center portion of the fork, tying it off nice and tight and having more control with both of my fingers. I left that excess string section so that I could use that as the hanger portion of the ornament. Once it was nice and tight, I pulled it off and cut all those loops to create our palm. Once you ensure that all the loops are cut, it's time to give it a little fluff. This is the technical term which makes them poofier and more bouncing body. Then you give them a little trim up at the end. I can definitely tell the difference from the first round of palms that I made from the last round. Let's give that first palm a little fluff so that it matches the rest. And there you have it, a bunch of Bohemian pom-pom ornaments. All right, next up we're gonna make some ornaments with shish kebab skewers, cotton twine, and some eucalyptus. Trimming down just some little elements and tying them all together using the cotton twine. And now that we have the base of the ornament, let's give it a little flair with some string tassels, just looping them through and continuing that process along that skewer. Kind of like a mini wall hanging, but for your Christmas tree. Once I had the desired amount of tassels, it was time to decide, do I do a little straight cut, angled cut to finish this guy off? I found this wired jute cord at the dollar store, which I'll be using to make these Scandinavian inspired ornaments. I'm going to use some wood beads to cover up the ends of the jute cord by adding a small bead to each end and then a little glue in the center with one larger bead, connecting it all together, making it look like one seamless circle. I let the glue fully dry, and then it was time to add a couple more elements to these ornaments. I added a eucalyptus leaf by tying on that cotton twine around the ornament and then just used the excess twine to wrap around the end. I really like the way that the tassels turned out on the last set of ornaments, so I figure adding that element into this ornament would help tie it all in. It felt like it needed just a little bit something more, so I added one more sprig of eucalyptus and glued the stem in place. I wanted to make sure that it was going to stay secured in place. Even though I glued it down, I wanted to tie a little cotton twine around either end, which also helped add as my hanger for the ornament. I connected the two together at the top, and voila, we have an ornament. I think these little triangle matchstick ornaments are by far my favorite. They were a little trickier and took a little bit more patience, but I'll show you how I made them using cotton twine, matchsticks, the wooden beads we used earlier, and super glue. I started by gluing 2 matchsticks together and leaving a little overhang on either side and repeated the process. The little lip overhang on either side is how I'm going to connect the matchsticks together to create our triangle. I used a little super glue in the connection points, and this is where the patience comes in. Once it's glued together, you really want to let it sit and have patience to let it fully cure and dry before we go on to the next step. So I'm not going to touch it, and while I let it dry, let's talk about today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of unique and fun classes for creatives. If you know me, you know I'm a plant nerd, and I love everything plants. So I'm super excited to check out Plants at Home, Uplift Your Spirit and Your Space with Christopher Griffin, also known as Plant Queen on Instagram. I've been a huge fan for a long time, so it was really cool to take this class. I felt like I was having a one-on-one with Christopher. This holiday season, treat yourself or someone you love to the gift of creative learning. Skillshare has a bunch of ways to experience online learning. They have live classes where you can connect with popular and inspiring teachers. The first 1,000 of my subscribers that click on the link in the video description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now back to our project. Now that our matchstick triangles are fully dry, we can do a lot of different things to spruce them up. I liked how the tassels looked like we did from some of the last ornaments. And for this one, I'm gonna hang a wooden bead down the center. We'll just do it with like a little pendulum style by wrapping back and forth and tying off one end, and then I'll hide the tie underneath the bead so that it looks like it's just floating. Just do a little adjusting to get the bead into place, and then I looped in a piece of that cotton twine at the top of the triangle to make the hanger for the ornament. Now that all our ornaments are done, all that's left is to go and hang them on the tree. Now our wooden Christmas tree is complete with these Bohemian and Scandinavian inspired ornaments. I love how easy they were to make with simple materials. Be sure to check out how I made this wooden Christmas tree in the video below. Thanks again for watching today's video, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a rad holiday, and thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video.